I'm here with Asra Nomani. How are you doing today?
I'm so great. I'm so happy to be here in the sunshine.
We are so happy you are here with us. So you have written for tons of publications. What inspired you to be a journalist?
Well, I came to this country as a young child. I was 4 years old, and journalism became my passport to America. It became an excuse to go anywhere I wanted to go, and I had a curious mind, so it gave me an excuse to ask any question that I wanted to ask. And so I wanted to also be a journalist because I wanted people to be able to understand others that they wouldn't otherwise meet in life.
And so as a Muslim woman, do you think you faced more challenges than others might as a journalist?
It's a really interesting question that I'm reflecting upon. I've been in my profession for 3 decades, and all of this news that's happening right now with the Me Too generation and their reflections about Hollywood industry and the roles that women did get or didn't get have made me really think about what I was able to do or not do as a journalist. And I'm doing a lot of reflection on it, and I think that my generation definitely had a lot of the stereotypes of expectations for women and what we would cover. A lot of jobs would go to men that I think women would otherwise qualify to do. I try to look back at it not with regret, but really wondering how we can support young women, especially in fields that we weren't encouraged to do in the past. But I'm personally thrilled at a lifetime of journalism because any which way, it took me into worlds that I would never have been able to enter otherwise.
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
You've written for New York Times, Washington Post, Time Magazine. Sticking to the topic of reflection, looking back, what's one of your favorite stories you've ever written?
Well, as a Muslim and as a woman, I would live my experience with real silence through most of my lifetime. But after the events of the 9/11 attacks in the U.S. and more reflection that I had about the role of women in our community, in our Muslim communities, I came to realize that I wanted to apply to religion the same scrutiny I had given to corporations and governments. And so I started becoming an investigative reporter on my faith of Islam. And I really started to realize the big money that goes into advertising, marketing, and propaganda of ideas. And so I think the stories that I'm most proud of are the ones where I approach my own faith of Islam with the same investigative zeal that I'd approached corporations, and follow the money and really unpack how it is that special interests have used their own agendas to deny women rights, and from the mosque to the public square. And so those are the stories that I'm really most proud of, because I feel like they come from both within and also express all of the standards of journalism that I honor and treasure. And so I feel like I've merged my identities and my life passions. And so the fact that I can now be an advocate from a reporting perspective for justice for women in the world is something that I really appreciate.
And speaking back to your religion, you have started the Muslim Women's Freedom Tour. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, it was, just a quick term that I came for basically what I'm doing here in Georgia, which is speaking about my own experience and speaking about the challenge that I believe women in the Muslim community, and really women in all communities, need to do against the entrenched powers that want to deny us our full rights in this world. You asked me about whether I was able to get all the opportunities that I could have gotten in journalism. The same question is happening for women in Hollywood. And so these are all questions that we need to have within our communities. And as part of the Muslim Women's Freedom Tour, I'm challenging a lot of the conventional wisdoms like I have in journalism in so many other universes, and really asserting a different perspective. In journalism, we're always trained to question conventional wisdom, and that's basically what I'm doing. some folks say, "Oh, you're such a provocateur and such a rabble rouser," but that's what we do in journalism, is we challenge ideas, and we are rarely going to be voted homecoming queen, in any community. And so I'm comfortable with the lack of popularity sometimes for these ideas, because I think you have to question and then you find out truths.
That's awesome. And we'll be back right after this short break. I'm here with journalist, activist, and feminist Asra Nomani. So you're also an author.
Yeah.
You've written 2 books, is that correct?
Yeah. I never thought I would be a book author. I was always a reader all my life. Nancy Drew was my best friend growing up. And I turned to writing books because I got a couple assignments, and I really love it because I feel like with books you can really unpack ideas. And what I really love about being a book author too is that it offers you the opportunity to be reflective, and it's not just about gotcha journalism, and trying to expose and do this or that. It's about, we're kind of bringing people on a journey. And so my first book was a book called Tantrika, Traveling the Road of Divine Love, and in it I really tried to explore my identities as a Muslim, as a woman, as an American, and somebody from the Indian subcontinent, from India. I learned something that I think is a universal truth, whether you're in Georgia or whether you're in India, that you really are well advised to deeply reflect on who you are, like who you truly are within yourself, so that you write your own script instead of just the one that you've inherited, and instead of living the script that you've inherited. That takes a lot of courage, and that's why I'm so happy to be here with the first year students program, because the freshmen are on that journey, and it's so fun to encourage others to try to be their authentic selves.
And so as a Muslim woman, you're like a powerhouse pretty much. I feel like you're breaking all of these stereotypical chains. Have you received any backlash from the Muslim community doing all of these wonderful things that you are doing?
Yeah, that's been part of my experience in taking on this challenging issue, is really recognizing that you aren't going to be the most popular person in the room or the mosque. My second book was called Standing Alone in Mecca, An American Woman's Struggle for the Soul of Islam. And I wrote that title, Standing Alone, because in these struggles that we all experience in life, whether it's challenging bigotry in your family, at the Thanksgiving dinner table, or in a classroom, an idea that you want to challenge, it takes courage, it takes moral courage, and oftentimes you're alone in that moment. You may have beautiful friends and support, but you need to know that you can do it on your own. And so what happened for me is I had the wonderful support of my family, but these weren't popular ideas in my community, and so I received death threats. And unfortunately, there are many people on all sides who have expectations of what a Muslim woman should look like, both from within the community and outside the community. And so I've also had misunderstanding from people outside of the community who think that Muslims can only be Muslim if you're bad and evil and oppressed. And that's why, like, on the Muslim Women's Freedom Tour, like, one of my favorite colors is pink, to challenge the idea that we have to live in darkness and in the shadows, and that I want to embrace love and life, and that's really sometimes a lonely path, because folks want to pigeonhole you, but the real challenge in life, I think, for everyone is to stand up themselves and stand up strong.
Great. So you're so accomplished already. Are there any accomplishments you hope to reach that you have not yet reached?
Well, I'm also a mother, and so a lot of folks watching will be on the other side as students, and the children of parents who, are driving you crazy and having all these, expectations. But as a mother, I think that's my greatest challenge. I have a boy who's 15, and it's that critical age, if everyone remembers it, when you're really figuring out where you're going to go in this world. And I think what most parents wish is to give their children lives with happiness and self-fulfillment. And I think that's really my greatest hope I can try to accomplish for my son Shibli.
Well, thank you so much for being here with us. We really do appreciate it. Tune in to 99 at 9 on Mondays and Wednesdays at 9 p.m. and Eagle News on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4. I'm your host, Casey Reed.
The American Red Cross urgently needs blood and platelet donations and asks donors to schedule an appointment to give now. Every 2 seconds, someone in the United States needs blood. Your blood donation is critical and can help save lives. Please, schedule an appointment today. Download the Blood Donor app, visit redcrossblood.org, or call 1-800-RED-CROSS today. You can make a difference.
How can I help my daughter with her reading?
Searching for help with Dachshund breeding.
No.
Let me try. Sarah's bright, but when she's reading, she has trouble sounding out words.
Playing world music.
What?
I give up.
Wait, I was trying to show you how Sarah feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
Join parents and experts at understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues to help your child thrive.